Welcome everybody to tackletrading.com. This week's option report. This is Coach Gino bringing you another option report and some of the picks that I'm going to consider as my candidates for trading next week. So let's dive into this. Now in the options report, definitely check out the stock report first. There's plenty of candidates in there. I picked some of my favorite ones for the option report out of that report. I looked at the stock picks, the bulls and bears, and some of those I like the option trades, and some of those they're better stock trades. Just because it has options doesn't mean it's always a good option trade. So you'll notice in the stock report, there's quite a few I didn't use for the option plays, and they actually make good stock plays by buying a put to protect it, if anything, or putting in a stop. But as far as options, let's jump into our bull team. On the bull team, we have AMBA. Ambarella. Why? Because I see this nice setup here. Now, real quickly, before I forget, earnings. The next 2 weeks, we have a lot of earnings coming out. Make sure you are prepared for earnings date. We got a bullish triangle here. If you go to the options report, you'll see where I put my triggers. It's not only about finding a good pattern like this. This is a bullish triangle. I don't jump right into these. You see, there's a certain area. It's really, really important you know exactly where the trigger point is to get into these. If you get in too soon, you might hit a little resistance and be stopped out. If you get in too late, you're not going to make enough profit. It's going to turn around on you and stop out. There's a sweet spot. That's why it's important to know where that sweet spot is when you get triggered. So I put my triggers on all the trades. So there's AMBA, one of my bull candidates. SITAS, SITAS Corp. Similar pattern going on here. I'm seeing a lot of these triangles. Do you guys see the bullish triangle here? Now there's a sweet spot in here. There's a lot to be made before it gets to resistance. My trigger's down in here, and I have a stop loss on all my positions. That's also listed on the option report. It's when the stock hits my trigger to get out, it closes my option. So when the stock triggers a certain area in here, it gets me into the option. In this trade, it'd probably be long calls. And if it triggers below here, it gets me out of the option. We have on the option report, towards the bottom, a position sizing calculator. Now, position sizing calculator will help you position size correctly how many contracts to do. Definitely check it out. That's also part of the option report. And it's also on the stock report. Position size your shares accordingly. Caterpillar, another bullish candidate. Check out the nice channel going on Caterpillar here. What I'm seeing is a lot of, well, let me just circle it for you. A lot of volume coming in at the end of the day on Friday here, and it rallied back up, which means I'm expecting a strong open Monday if this continues. And a little trigger up in this area and a stop down here. I'm going to go for some quick profit on a bullish move in Caterpillar. Now let's jump over to the bears. What do we have going for the bears? One we have here is in the retail sector, Macy's, symbol M. Looking at a breakdown here, a lot of stuff going on here. A swing high, picture perfect swing high right there. I don't know if you see it right there. It triggered Friday. There's plenty of room to make money on the downside. Earnings is coming up on these companies, you guys. I believe this one's May 11th. Triggers down here. The channel that I believe this will stay in is right here. Why did it do a swing high right here? Overhead resistance. Possible kiss of death. I want to see big volume down here. Also notice the RSI is starting to go back to the downside below 50. When I get triggered, I'm hoping the volume's big because I need this be the OBV to be below the moving average. That's Macy's. Why do we pick Macy's as a bear candidate? Because the retail sector, I think, is breaking down. When you go and look at the sectors in the stock report, the first video, definitely check out the market status, the market scoreboard, where all the sectors are. The next candidate, another retailer, Nike. Same kind of thing. Here's your swing high right here that triggered Friday. Now, there's a lot of support down in this area, but I'm seeing the moving average, which confirms a bear trend right here. RSI below 50, OBV is about to break. So if I get triggered where I believe will be the best place to be triggered, I call the sweet spot right there, that should take it farther to the downside. All we need is a bad news report on the retailers, and this will do really, really good. Now getting into more advanced strategies, those were all long calls and long puts. Let's look at net ease. Net ease, downtrend also. Now net ease, there's a lot of different strategies I can do. I can do long puts and that kind of thing. But being a veteran trader for almost 20 years, guys, I have a lot of rules in place. You can do any strategy you want. Buy puts, covered calls, all that kind of stuff. Butterflies, they're fine. For me, I'm going to do a bear call spread up here. There's still a lot of volatility left in this. I'm going to do a bear call spread that's going to give me a credit as long as it stays below the last highs here, about 145. Again, this is just the one I'm doing. You could check out on the option report my strikes, my entry points, all that stuff. Lastly, let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix had earnings. Notice the big gap down right here. Notice that big gap down. Will it fill that gap? I don't know. Will it go down more since it had horrible report on earnings? I don't know. It could go either way. If I have a feeling, though, since it's a big mover, it's either going to go up or down. I don't think it's going to sit around here. I think it's going to test certain levels, but in the next 3 weeks to a month, I think it's going to break out. So what did I do? I did a iron condor debit. I bought the condor, cheap way to trade expensive stocks. Cheap way to trade expensive stocks. The debit condor has rules and guidelines also on the option report. So don't forget to go to the option report and check out my personal rules of a strategy I use all the time called the DebiCon, the debit iron condor. Makes money if the stock goes up or down. Also, here's your position sizing calculator. You can download this to your desktop just by clicking right here, download. Fill in your personal entry and stop. You don't have to use mine. This is educational purposes only. You might use a different strategy. Enter your delta. It's a decimal, and it'll tell you how many contracts max you should do based on your risk tolerance. Well, that's it, guys. That's all I have for you this week. Stay tuned for next week's newsletter, stock report, and option report. And stay in touch with the markets. Stay on the right side of the markets. Get in the game. Again, this is Coach Gino. Have a great trading week.